crazy from Eddie Hernandez. Hey everybody, welcome to GAW Dark, coming to you once again from the former home of the WCW power plant here in Atlanta, Georgia. I have absolutely loved our Southern and East Coast tour that we've been doing over the last few weeks in General Admission Wrestling, because it means that it's not a lot of travel to get back to Atlanta for the faithful here in the power plant. And tonight, Martina Del Sol returns to the ring. We haven't seen her in a good long while. She, of course, was involved with Caitlin Dunlap at the very, very beginning of Season 2 and went on, unfortunately, to lose a no disqualification match against Dunlap. We'll see one of those coming up in our main event tonight. But Martina Del Sol remains incredibly talented, so we will see exactly if she has improved since we last saw her. I'm sure you'll all remember Christine Buckley. Buckley has looked excellent on Dark. She was dealing with a nagging shoulder injury that kept her off the last few episodes, but the last time we saw her, she was looking probably the best that I have seen her personally, given the fact that, you know, she came in, got, I believe, 2 straight wins, if I'm remembering correctly, and, you know, she beat Suzuki on Dark St. Patty's Day. That was a great match, and of course the dangerous buckshot is going to be a problem for Martina Del Sol. So you got 2 women that we haven't seen in a little while. Del Sol has been training. She's been reworking her game. Christine Buckley healing up a shoulder problem. Both of them are back to make a statement here in beautiful Atlanta. Let's see who can do it. So for these 2 women, it's all about momentum. It's all about who can grab that proverbial brass ring, and that is really what GAW Dark is about. We talk about it all the time. You know, how big of a deal that it is on Dark. And just when you look at the history, you look at, like, you know, guys like Midnight, the current Raw champion, started on Dark. Xavier Cross challenged for the Raw Championship. He started on Dark. Igris started on Dark. Max Ultimate started on Dark. I mean, those are just a handful of the kind of names that have just improved themselves so much and built up their momentum here in Atlanta. And it's so important, you know, not only, I mean, wrestling obviously is such a game of momentum, as we know. Cover here from Buckley and a kick out. All these athletes are so close to each other in terms of athleticism, in terms of raw skill and power, that it really comes down to the little things, and getting the momentum here in front of the GAW faithful. That is one of those little things that can put you over the edge. We've seen it time and time again. Cover here from Del Sol to answer after a big boot right to the head. Buckley kicks out. And it not only is being here in Atlanta important for, you know, for that momentum that we're talking about, but it's extremely important not for the wrestlers to, I guess you would say, be in a familiar spot and really work on themselves. So the thing that, you know, you out there may not have a great idea of is the thing about being in Atlanta is this is where the home of the GAW Academy is. We have the whole training facility. Look at Martina Del Sol going up high. Missile drop kick. Escalera into the drop kick from Martina Del Sol. That is the athleticism of the Brazilian former Olympian. Into the cover goes Del Sol and a kick out. So this was the home of the GAW Academy for years and years. So all the training, all of the infrastructure is here. So wrestlers really feel at home right now. Buckley comes right back with a lariat. That is a heavy right from Christine Buckley, probably one of the strongest women that you will see in the GAW Academy. So wrestlers come here and they can really get themselves figured out. They can go to the training facilities, they can work on themselves, they can watch film, they can do all those things. And I think that is so important, and that's what a lot of people don't really have a perspective on for the wrestlers that come here to Dark. That's what it's all about, getting themselves figured out. Martina maybe looking for a guillotine choke, but Christine Buckley comes right back, arm trap, body slam. You can see both women just trying to play to the crowd a little bit. Both of them obviously love being back here in the fold. Buckley specifically returning from that injury, and she had a little bit of momentum building for herself before she had to take a little time off. So for her, this represents an opportunity to get back on track, get back to that level. For Del Sol, she hasn't been seen in a while, kind of working on herself, working on her game. As I alluded to before, that's what being in Atlanta is all about. She's been living here. She's been here full time, working on herself. And oh my God, Christine Buckley unloads with the uppercut. And Del Sol just trying to give herself a little bit of moment to breathe. Buckley's not going to let her have it over there in the corner. Del Sol to her feet, but Christine Buckley's going to be waiting for her, and Buckley, single arm takedown. Buckley sits down on it. Buckshot here applied by Christine Buckley, the student of Becky Lynch. And Martina Del Sol, she is locked in deep. You can see that Buckley, her heels are digging into the throat as well, and Del Sol just with a sheer, just power, that's all that was. Able to wrench her left arm free, and Del Sol comes back. That's a beautiful double leg slam. You can hear the fans like both of these women, and why wouldn't you? The way that they perform and, really what they've been able to do in their careers. Del Sol ducks that lariat, and Del Sol comes back. Nice spine buster. The Brazilian staying hot, and now it's Christine Buckley crawling into the corner. Able to get out of the way of that knee, but Del Sol whips her in. Buckley, that's an educated elbow. And now Buckley looking for the exploder suplex, and Del Sol, she caught her small package here. The Brazilian trying to steal it, and Buckley kicks out. That was well done by Martina Del Sol, and now up she goes. Del Sol, Frankensteiner, legs back. Del Sol sitting down on the shoulders, and again, Buckley kicks out. That is the quickness of Martina Del Sol. That's what she can do to you. Caitlin Dunlap had to deal with that. Famously in the Storm Chaser tournament, Buckley again lays her out with the right. So Buckley's got the advantage right now, you would think, and now Buckley with the exploder suplex. Look at the distance. She has used that exploder to win matches before, and now Buckley going for another cover here, and Del Sol kicks out. This time, the distance that Buckley threw her actually worked to her disadvantage. She had to walk a long way over to make that cover and allowed Del Sol to get the kick out. And now Buckley tried to go for the fireman's carry, and Del Sol, beautiful standing Spanish fly. You're kidding me. Del Sol hooks the leg, and Martina Del Sol with the Spanish fly. My goodness. Wow. Have you ever seen that before from Martina Del Sol? Or really from anyone not named Will Ospreay? That is incredible. Here is the buckshot from Christine Buckley, and Martina Del Sol with some superhuman strength just wrenches her left arm out of it. There is the exploder suplex that almost ended the day for Martina Del Sol, but Del Sol with a standing Spanish fly. Absolutely fantastic, and Del Sol in her return spoils Buckley's return as the Brazilian has her first win in about 2.5 months. Well, that was a phenomenal performance from Martina Del Sol, and now looking to follow it up is Ramon Gutierrez. We saw him make his debut a couple weeks ago here in Atlanta and pick up a win. That was actually a great performance from him, as well as he actually, I would say, upset Mexican Shia, who was recently called out by the Underground legend Lancelot himself. So Gutierrez here after a 2-week layoff, or a 1-week layoff, I should say, back in Atlanta. And this is a good opportunity to see how much he can improve in this short period of time. That's what being in GAW is all about. It's what's so important. Can you improve? Can you continue to change your game? That's what he needs to do. Now, Lance Woods is a guy that we've seen making more and more singles appearances, as it seems that the Woods Club has kind of been pushed out of that upper echelon of tag teams. The championship's currently held, of course, by the Titans. The last time we saw Lance in a tag team matchup, it was against the Titans in the infamous Titans Rules match, where I believe, if memory serves, Lance had a chair wrapped around his shoulder as part of that those famous Titans Rules. So he is making more and more forays into the singles arena to see if he can break out and have some singles success. This would be the time to do it against someone like Ramon Gutierrez, who is new, who hasn't seen Lance Woods before in his career. Let's see if Woods can pull a little bit of an upset here and take down the high-flying young Gutierrez. The last time we saw Lance Woods was going up against Xavier Cross just a couple weeks ago here in Atlanta. Ramon Gutierrez was here to witness that, as that happened on the same night that Gutierrez made his GAW debut and won. As I said earlier, Gutierrez, part of the very proud Mexican lucha tradition, and he joins a rapidly growing GAW roster of luchadors. Beautiful modified DDT. Now, of course, none more famous right now than La Tortuga Roja and Jackal, given what they've been through. And of course, we just saw Roja in the main event of Storm Chaser 2 days ago. He was on the wrong end of a low blow by Flyboy in a heinous act that we have to hear the Australian explain, hopefully at some point. But, you know, those aren't the only guys. You know, we do see Gutierrez here. Mexican Shy, as we heard Lancelot allude to, a luchador himself. We just picked up a young female luchador, part of the rapidly growing women's sport in Mexico, and hopefully we will get to see her make her debut pretty soon at just 21 years old. But it doesn't just stop there. Look at this modified surfboard here from Lance Woods. This is incredible strength, but Gutierrez able to work his way out of it. Very flexible is Ramon Gutierrez. You know, over on Friday Night Storm, of course, we have Bandito, winner of Rumble on the Beach, Rey Mysterio, one of the great champions in this company of all time, currently running the Latin American Exchange, Rey Fenix, Pentagon. Lots and lots of luchadors in general admission wrestling, and it seems to be growing every day. And when you look at the history of GAW, you have two very, very important names. Of course, Rush, former, I believe, cruiserweight champion, and La Sombra. Look at this, Gutierrez with a springboard moonsault. Have you ever seen anything as picture perfect as that? Gutierrez hooks the leg, and Ramon with the springboard moonsault. That is so pretty. Just look at the height and phenomenal camera work. You can just see how he's laid out right in the air. I mean, that is Lucha Libre wrestling if I have ever seen it. Beautiful shot of that springboard moonsault. You got to give that a 10 out of 10 right there. You could win Olympic gold with that one. And maybe not. You'd probably make too big of a splash in the pool, but you know what I mean. Ramon Gutierrez. Wow, he is pulling out all the stops. What a move from him. And Gutierrez improves to 2-0 right now. Coming up next, Lance Woods' brother Seth in singles action for the first time. Well, we are preparing, of course, for our main event when Derrick Cole takes on Ulysses Sky. No disqualifications following Sky's brutal attack of Cole with a baseball bat last week on Dark right here in Atlanta. And here's a man who knows something about no disqualification matches, going up against Lars Nightfall in a street fight prior to Bash at the Beach. And of course, now we know that Nightfall will be taking on Kurt Andrews with the Academy Championship on the line coming up next week on Storm Chaser. To think that Overload, that might have been him had he beaten Lars Nightfall in that street fight. As it is, Overload has yet to get a singles win in GAW in Season 2. Let's see if that changes here. I believe this is the first time that we've seen Seth Woods in singles action. He has been a tag team specialist his entire career, and of course most famously teaming with his brother Lance, who we just saw on the wrong end of Ramon Gutierrez. Let's see if things fare any better here for Seth. As again, making his debut in the singles arena. I'll remind you, the last time we saw the Woods brothers was going up against the Titans in the infamous Titans Rules match. And you know what? The less said about that, the better. So maybe I should stop bringing that up. Let's see what Seth Woods brings to the table today against the massive former world's strongest man. I got to be honest with you, I know very little about Seth Woods as a singles competitor. I don't know what he brings to the table. I do know that he brings incredible strength. That is 400 pounds of overload that Seth Woods just tosses right over his head with the exploder suplex. That's one way to start out a match against a man this big. Look at the vertical leap of Seth Woods as well. So I know that Seth is a terrific athlete, former college basketball player at Oral Roberts. Overload doesn't boast any of those credentials, but he is a former world's strongest man, and that does count for a lot in a sport where strength is so key. But as Overload has found out, unfortunately, it's not all about strength. I'll tell you what is all about strength: introducing your opponent to that turnbuckle. That calls for a whole lot of strength, and Overload's got it. Seth Woods doesn't come in with that amount of power, but he brings in a whole lot of athleticism to complement the physique and the strength that he does have. You can see how effortlessly he just moves Overload around. This is a terrific start to the match here for Seth Woods, but Overload showing a little bit of quickness. We're not used to seeing that from him. Up onto the shoulders goes Woods, and Overload drops him. Samoan drop. When it comes to strongman competitions, it's not only about your raw power, your peak power, it's also about endurance. Can you sustain that power over a period of time? And Overload at one time was a master, but I think he has not paid so much attention to his cardiovascular training since he moved over to professional wrestling, because he has been known to get gassed in matches late. We saw it right in front of us when he took on Omega Woods and Ulysses Sky in a three-way dance. The first Storm Chaser after Bash at the Beach. And Overload just got gassed late in the match against Omega. We'll see Omega next week on Storm Chaser, hopefully responding to Yunsan Park and revealing to the Academy legend what it is that he wants. I know I am waiting with bated breath to see that Overload, and you can see huge headbutt from him and then just drops right to the knee. We are 2.5 minutes in, and Overload, you can already see, is having some issues with his endurance. I think he's got to get back into the gym. He's got to work on that cardiovascular strength, and right here in Atlanta would be the place to do it. As I said, we have the whole setup. We have our gyms, our training facilities, all the coaches and trainers. They're all here. This is where the Academy was based until it began touring just this season. So this is a great opportunity for people to really get back on track and Overload. What a massive slam to Seth Woods, and we've seen him win with that before, but this time he just takes a second, and maybe that's going to hurt him, and it does. I know we shouldn't expect anything else from Overload, but at some point, if you want to make the money, you do got to win. You want to get that winner's purse, and Seth Woods just unloads with the clothesline. And now Woods hoists him up, pile driver from Seth Woods. Wow, just deposits Overload right on top of that shiny scalp, and Seth Woods on his singles debut gets a singles win. And we talked about how big these types of performances are on Dark, what it can mean for you going forward, and maybe if things aren't going to work out for Woods Club as a tag team, then maybe things could work out for Seth Woods as a singles competitor. Again, you never really know, but we've seen it certainly work in reverse. Now Frankie Omega and Andrew Wesley have began teaming, and they have looked incredible as a team in the past. So maybe someone can go the opposite way. Here is that hesitation from Overload, just trying to bask in the glow of the crowd a little bit, and it does cost him. Seth Woods kicks out, and then not 30 seconds later drops Overload on top of his head with the pile driver. Seth Woods gets his first singles win in his first attempt. Congratulations to him. Here's a guy still trying to get himself on track after seemingly having things all figured out in season 1. Buddy Murphy teamed up under the tutelage of the great Ricky Steamboat, and Murphy became one of the, I guess you would say, most well-rounded wrestlers in the cruiserweight division that we have ever seen, and that helped him to become cruiserweight champion in season 1. And he won that title from Yunsan Park, who very famously won the championship in his first night on General Admission Wrestling at what that time was the main roster. So Buddy Murphy did that, teamed with the Blade Runners. I mean, it seemed like he had things all figured out. But then he lost to Will Ospreay. The Blade Runners lost at Nitro 10. They were dissolved, and Buddy Murphy hasn't gotten a win since. 8-4 was his record in season 1. He is 0-3 here in season 2. So Murphy really needs to change something. Cody Rhodes doesn't really have to change much. His record may not be stellar, 2-5 in season 1, 1-2 in season 2, but a lot of that is a combination of bad luck and just bad opponents. Rhodes, had battles against the likes of Kazuchika Okada and Walter, and some of the absolute greats in season 1, and now in season 2, it's kind of happening again. We know that he will be taking on Walter for World Championship #1 contendership coming up on Friday. So this represents a tune-up match here for the American Nightmare as he prepares for what promises to be probably the toughest challenge of season 2 for him. Buddy Murphy presents his own challenge, of course. No disrespect to the former Cruiserweight champion, of course. Murphy is incredibly athletic, very, very strong. You can see he's bulked up a little bit as well. He came in just under that 225-pound limit for GAW Cruiserweights. We use the international rules in General Admission Wrestling, so 225 is the Cruiserweight / light heavyweight limit. And that does mean that Buddy Murphy, at what he used to weigh at 222, was eligible, made him a lot bigger than most of his contemporaries. But now he has bulked up a little bit. In fact, he weighed in prior to this match at 231. So Murphy has gained about 9 pounds since he was in the cruiserweight division, and I think that's going to help him a lot. We talked almost incessantly about Will Ospreay gaining a lot of weight when he came in at a very similar place. He was at about 215, and Ospreay really bulked up, so now Ospreay weighs about 238. So this is a guy who gained 23 pounds, mostly of muscle, and Ospreay had helped him to win the Intercontinental Championship and, of course, unify that with the Cruiserweight title. That happened back at Winterfest in season 1. Murphy looking for a power bomb here, and Cody too smart for that. That's the thing you gotta be careful with when it comes to Cody Rhodes. The man is smart, so Walter better look out. Walter cannot just rely on his incredible strength against Cody. He's got to outsmart the grandson of a plumber as well. Cody Rhodes, the son of the legendary Dusty Rhodes, a man without whom GAW probably wouldn't exist. Dusty Rhodes was so instrumental in the creation and growth of World Championship Wrestling, WCW, and GAW grew out of the ashes of World Championship Wrestling. So without Dusty Rhodes, we probably wouldn't be here. So to have his son Cody fighting at this level in GAW, I think I think it's pretty cool. It's not a story that you'll come across very often, even in the sport of professional wrestling. Cody unloads. What a right. The fans love it because the fans, they're not huge fans of Buddy Murphy, the way that he has acted and kind of carried himself into the ring. He goes, and now Cody Rhodes. Cody, you got to think, has the advantage right now, and Murphy's going to have to use his quickness, but he may not get the chance. Cody tries to take the waist and back waist lock. Nice standing switch from Murphy and a high angle German. Oh man, that is the strength of Buddy Murphy. I told you he gained that weight, and you can see it in what he does. Incredible strength from Buddy, and it really helps him out. Cody, my God. Don't be so disrespectful like that. And we got our main event coming up later. Derrick Cole taking on Ulysses Sky, no disqualifications. I can't wait for that. And coming up next, we will hear from Derrick Cole about the attack last week from Ulysses Sky. The first time we're really going to get a chance to meet the man and see him in this capacity. Rhodes unloads with the right, and now Cody Rhodes crossroads. Quick as a hiccup, that can come in. And now Cody Rhodes with the leg hooked. Cody Rhodes picks up the win, and he's going into that match against Walter with some momentum. That is absolutely crucial. He needs to have that. Walter is going to be the toughest test that Cody Rhodes has faced in GAW, and I include when he took on Kazuchika Okada. Cody Rhodes, this is, I think, a big momentum win for him. Obviously, it's what Dark is all about. And from Rhodes' perspective, you know, he's sitting here thinking, you know what, if I can beat Murphy, I can probably beat anybody. Murphy's got a pedigree in GAW, and I think Cody Rhodes, I think he really, really has a chance against Walter coming up on Friday. Folks, ahead of our main event, we are going to hear from Derrick Cole. So let's go backstage. One of the best athletes in the world. Let's hear what he has to say about his opponent, Ulysses Sky. My mom used to tell me to keep my circle close. She said when I got to the top, some people will try to hang on, ride my success, and some will just get jealous and try to send me back down. Apparently, Ulysses Sky is one of those people, so I've been prepared for this. Whether it's the wide receiver who tried to scratch out my eye or the dude in Europe that came under me while I was dunking, I've always known people who just, I mean, they just can't handle success when they can't have a piece of it. So, look, I'm not going to go out and air out DMs from Sky when I first got here. I mean, I could, but I'm not going to. The thing I can do, though, is humble the man. Look, I've been humble. I grew up in a place where crack grew on the streets like concrete roses. So I know this. Ulysses Sky can't outwork me. And tonight, he can't out-tough me either. Well, I absolutely love to hear that from Derrick Cole. I think the man's got a mean streak, and he may not show it, but I do not envy Ulysses Sky going into this match coming up next. But for right now, Charlotte Flair, she's got herself a pretty big match on Friday Night Storm in a couple days as she takes on Kairi Sane for the right to face Bianca Belair for the United States Championship. This is a big moment for Charlotte Flair, and in order to prepare for that, she has scheduled the woman who finished second in a four-way dance for that opportunity, Marina Shafir. Kairi Sane ended up tapping out Marina with the clover leaf, and so Charlotte Flair hoping that she can learn something from watching that and then facing down Marina Shafir. Let's see what Charlotte Flair can learn here ahead of her number one contenders match in just a couple days. Our main event coming up next. Shafir starts out hot. Nice spear to start. Derrick Cole, Ulysses Sky, no DQ. You've heard me say it enough. But I cannot wait for this match. This is going to be the first time that we see what I believe to be the real Derrick Cole. After we saw him make his debut a couple weeks ago on Dark against Stafford Drummond, we got to know him a little bit 10 days ago on Storm Chaser. And then, of course, Ulysses Sky takes an intentional disqualification by taking a bat right to the forehead of Derrick Cole. And now Shafir into the cover. Charlotte Flair kicks out. I'm a little surprised that Flair is taking time away from studying Kairi Sane to take this tune-up match, but here she is, and I think Sane ended up not taking a tune-up, mostly because Sane is still recovering from a wild four-way dance last Friday. Marina Shafir, Jessamine Duke, and Shayna Baszler were a part of that match, so Sane's still recovering, and I really don't blame her, especially when you know that you've got a match against someone as dangerous as Charlotte Flair coming up. And here is what the real danger is. This turnbuckle has been lonely for the last few matches. Charlotte Flair decides to give it another friend. I don't want that friend. I won't show up to that friend's parties. I don't want him to show up in mine. Flair with the spear. I'll stop with the turnbuckle metaphors. And here is one of the myriad of submissions that Charlotte Flair can employ. Of course, the most deadly is the figure eight, which we have seen her use less and less over the preceding weeks and months. And I think it's really because, as I say every time, she believes that women have that scouted. And Flair, just as I say it, Charlotte Flair locks it in, and Flair, she's got the figure four. Can she bridge? And Flair, she does, bridges up into the figure eight, and Marina Shafir, you would think that she had it scouted, but she did not, and Charlotte Flair forces the tap out. The first time that we've seen the figure eight from Charlotte Flair in a long time. I can't think of the last time that we saw it. Maybe going all the way back to her rivalry with Asuka in season 1. That might be the last time that we saw her actually apply the figure eight. It's actually a big reason why Flair decided to not go with the figure eight anymore, because Asuka was able to withstand it multiple times because Asuka had it very well scouted. So Charlotte Flair, she got away from it a little bit, but I think this is just a message sent to Kairi Sane, to the Pirate Princess, that the figure eight is still in the bag for Charlotte Flair. That submission is there. It is available. And the Queen, it's not like she was dangerous enough to remind you that she has one of the deadliest submissions in the game. Folks, coming up next, our main event, Derrick Cole, Ulysses Sky, no DQ. You can hear it. You can stop hearing me talk about it because it's coming up right now.
All of us are born with the miraculous ability to do.
Well, this is exciting, folks. I've been looking forward to this match all night, as I'm sure you could probably tell. Ulysses Sky has not exactly been the most respectful in his run in GAW so far, and we saw it, of course, in full effect when he intentionally got himself disqualified against Derrick Cole, and Cole went straight to Commissioner Jason Parker and said, you know what, I understand that normally you'd want to suspend the guy, but I don't want that. I want you to give me a match next week, no DQs, and I want to take care of this myself. And Jason Parker really does respond to wrestlers, you know, taking the lead and wanting to prove themselves in the ring, and that's exactly what Derrick Cole has been about. That's what he's been about his entire athletic career. It's about proving himself. It's not about taking the easy way out. I think a lot of people would say, yeah, suspend him, I don't want to deal with him. Derrick Cole says, no, I'm going to step into the ring with that man, and I am going to deal with him myself. Here's an interesting thing to note about Derrick Cole, by the way. This is funny. So obviously he's made a lot. He's made a lot of money during his professional sports career. So you know, he is very well off. But he actually is an expert real estate investor. I was having a conversation with him a couple days ago, and he was telling me about this property that he owns over in, if you can believe it or not, he owns property in Sanibel Island in Florida. He owns some property in LA, owns some property in Boston, owns some property in San Diego, owns some property in Denver, Colorado. I mean, this, like, it's apropos of nothing for his wrestling ability, but it just goes to show how intelligent he is. That, you know, there's more than meets the eye when it comes to Derrick Cole. He's not just an incredible athlete. We know that he is that, but he is also very intelligent, very smart. He's got a great head on his shoulders, and I think that is going to be the thing that puts him ahead of everyone else, that helps him rise to the top. Because, you know, it's not just about being the athlete, it's about being smart, and Derrick Cole is that. In a no disqualification match, though, sometimes it's not about being a great athlete, it's not even about being smart, it's about being the toughest. And Derrick Cole, he made it no DQ, I presume, just so that Ulysses Sky couldn't get himself disqualified again. I would be a little surprised if Derrick Cole went for a weapon here. I believe that he's got something to prove, and now into the camel clutch he goes. Sits back on it, putting a lot of pressure on the spine of Ulysses Sky. Derrick Cole came out of college, graduated from the University of Oregon with a degree in small business administration. And I keep bringing it up just because when you look at a lot of the stellar athletes that come in here, I mean, we saw one earlier today. Overload was a world champion, the world's strongest man. I mean, that is a title that, you know, just a fraction of a percent of people in the entire history of the world have ever held. Overload did, but he didn't come in thinking smart. He didn't come in with that work ethic, with that intelligence, and it's really hurting him now. And Derrick Cole is not like that. He has the work ethic, he has the intelligence, he has it all. So it's just about putting it together on paper. And let's see if he can do it here against Ulysses Sky. Here's the athleticism as Cole, effortless single-hand spine buster. And now Cole again, just incredible strength with a deadlift powerbomb. Ulysses Sky comes in at 209. Derrick Cole looking for the Cole cut. And Ulysses Sky comes right back, pulls him in off the lariat, and Sky showing a little bit of his strength, specifically in the core, into the twisting brain buster. Sky down as well. Cole's really taking a lot out of him here. And again, that is the stamina of Derrick Cole. There's so much that you can talk about him. There's so many plus elements that he has in his game. And Cole with a stomp. Wow, would you look at that? Ulysses Sky thought he had a moment to get to his feet. Derrick Cole says, no, my friend, not today. Sky drops the elbow onto the top of the head of Derrick Cole, but here is Cole. Drops him down right to the knee, and Cole snaps him with a DDT. That is beautiful from Derrick Cole. And now again into the camel clutch. Second time we've seen this applied from the stellar athlete. And again, just sitting back right on the spine of Ulysses Sky. And you can see him kind of reaching out for that bottom rope. Derrick Cole believed he was getting close, and he releases it. This is what Cole can do. Again, looking for the Cole cut. Ulysses Sky has that one well scouted. Clearly, Sky's done his job. And now Cole, front chancery, maybe looking to set up a guillotine. Ulysses Sky, that's a nice block there. And now Sky up onto the shoulders goes Cole, and Sky with the DVD. First opportunity here from Sky to get something going, and he gets barely a 2 count. But you know what? At least it's some life for Ulysses Sky. Derrick Cole had control for most of this match coming in. Let's see if Ulysses Sky can make something happen here, and we'll see if Sky is the one to take advantage of this no disqualification stipulation. Sky with a DDT on the apron. Absolutely brutal. Surprisingly, Ulysses Sky himself has not pulled out a weapon, even though it would be totally legal in a match like this. Sky with a kick, and Cole not even phased. Sky drops to one knee, and Derrick Cole didn't even go down. These two men can spend all the time out here they want. Only rule, pinfall or submission has to happen inside the ring. Cole, oh jeez. Spine buster on the outside for Derrick Cole. God, that is brutal. And Cole comes in, spear. Ulysses Sky just does not have a moment to breathe at all. Cole is so physically fit that Ulysses Sky just has nothing. He's got absolutely nothing that he can do. Derrick Cole was an All-American decathlete at Oregon, and of course a world champion. Cole cut on the outside. A world champion decathlete in the Diamond League. So Derrick Cole, by the way, here's a story about him. So he was a world champion decathlete, and he was absolutely stellar. Never ended up going to the Olympics. He was in peak physical shape for peak decathlon shape for one Olympic cycle, and it was unfortunately the same. Oh, Cole with the Heisman kick. Well, I was gonna finish this story, but I don't think Ulysses Sky is kicking out of this. Derrick Cole gets his revenge on Ulysses Sky. You know what, I'll tell it really quickly. So he was coming in to the games in Rio, the Olympic Games in Rio, and the only decathlete in the world who was better than Derrick Cole was fellow American Ashton Eaton. So Derrick Cole was in peak physical shape, did not finish first in trials, and picked up an injury, did not compete at those Olympics, and then of course the rest is history for Derrick Cole. All of it brings him to right now. Cole cut on the outside, Heisman kick, and Derrick Cole has his revenge on Ulysses Sky. What a match. Folks, thank you so much for joining us today in Atlanta, and thank you for joining us for every episode of General Admission Wrestling. Join us again on Friday as we have a massive Friday Night Storm coming up for you right then, so we hope to see you there. And of course, check out our website, generaladmissionwrestling.com. We appreciate you.